Hi guys, and welcome to the Sunderland vs Southend match review. So Sunderland have just beaten Southend by a goal to nil at the Stadium Light, which is a very, very important 3 points indeed, getting back to winning ways. But let's get on with the review. So the team we did start with, we had Big John McLaughlin in goal. We had Denver Hume on the left of defence. We had Conor McLaughlin on the right of defence. We had Willis and Lynch in the middle of defence. We had Powell and Dobson in the middle, which is the two centre midfielders which I wanted us to remain with. On the right hand side we had Luke O'Nien. On the left we had McGeady. Then we had Maguire just behind Will Grigg up top. So we get into the game, and you know I can't really go into too much detail about this game because in all honesty we controlled it from start to finish, which is a really, really good thing, particularly at home, which is something that I've said for weeks and weeks and weeks now I want to see. And we are seeing quite dominant performances under Parkinson. I feel like we have just been unlucky in recent weeks that almost every game that we have seen under Parkinson has been a complete contrast to what we've seen under or when we were under Jack Ross. We're going at teams and going at teams and going at teams, but we have been unlucky in terms of not scoring or gaining the rewards that we should be, because from the off we were creating chances, we were getting down to the bylines and to the wide areas and whipping balls in. Granted, I think today the big thing was that the quality of the final ball in the final third wasn't great because it was really, really poor. But we had plenty of chances with Lax and McGeady cutting inside from left to right as he does, having shots left, right and centre. Maguire had a couple as well. But we did eventually get ourselves in the lead, and it was Denver Hume who, for me, was my man of the match today. But it was Denver Hume who broke down the left-hand side, or it's pulled back to him, sorry, and he whips it in to Luke O'Nien with another diving header. He scored a diving header against Tranmere the other week as well, and it was a brilliantly placed header past the keeper with a fantastic diving header, which I love to see. They're quite out of fashion, aren't they, diving headers? But Luke's got two in the space of a week or so, which is absolutely excellent. So Luke got himself on the score sheet, and yet we still managed to maintain control of the game throughout. I mean, there were a couple of times in the first half where I think there were just a couple of sort of hoof balls kind of undone Lynch and Willis, which was a little bit worrying. Just a couple of little balls, a couple of flick-ons that did them, and but unfortunately for us, it didn't come to anything for Southend. But John McLaughlin throughout the day was never truly tested. There was a couple of crosses that had to come and claim or punch, but other than that, they didn't really have anything whatsoever. But second half comes, and again, it's more of the same. We're controlling. There's some decent passing moves going on, but I just felt like we were lax in that final third, and that's what brings me on to Will Grigg. Now, Will Grigg has got a lot of stick in recent weeks, or over the last, since I've been here, pretty much. I've never really been too, critical of him in terms of, just saying he's shit or he's this and that and he's the other, because I think that's really unfair. But with Will Grigg, I've got to the point where I simply just don't think he gels with his team. He looks like he doesn't want to be here, which is obviously just my opinion. I can't speak for him, but he looks like he doesn't want to be here. I don't know whether that's just the way he plays or what, but he just looks so disinterested, and he looks like everything, and I was saying this on social media in kind of a joking manner, it just looks like everything is such an inconvenience to him. It's just sort of like, oh God, the ball's coming near me, I can't be arsed. Do you know what I mean? Which, no, it's just an over-exaggerated way to look at it, but that is how it looks. It looks like he just can't be bothered whatsoever, which is, it's a shame. He just doesn't look happy here whatsoever. And there's been a couple of times over the last 2 or 3 weeks where it looks like, we might be getting the best out of him. He did score against Tranmere. He looks like he was really pressing in back lines and getting involved or dropping deep if he had to come collect the ball. But particularly in that first half, he's shown absolutely nothing. I think the first chance he got in a game of plenty of chances for us, he had a header which went over the bar in the second half, and that was as much as you got from Grigg all day long in a game in which, without any disrespect to Southend, and, we were carving out chances, a striker should have had a field day today. A really good striker should have had a field day today. And unfortunately, Will Grigg didn't live up to the bill in that sense. I think for the last sort of half hour or so, we brought on Watmore, who livened it up a little bit, because it did start to die down the game, which worried me because we're only a goal up, of course, and I felt like we started to not sit back as such, but we really calmed our play down. We dropped the tempo quite drastically with about half an hour left. We brought Watmore on, which sparked us a little bit for about 10 minutes. And we left it quite late until Parkinson did bring on McNulty. I think he should have come on a bit earlier to energise that final third for us. But that's by the by. The game did slow down, and they did manage to sort of come forward for the last sort of 5-10 minutes of the game, putting balls into the box and But again, it didn't come to anything. So we won. We saw the game out. We won by a goal to nil. And for me, again, man of the match for me was Denver Hume. Every time the game started to go a little bit flat, Denver Hume would spark out of nowhere. He'd take on a good 2, 3, sometimes 4 players and try and create something single-handedly in the final third. And he did get the assist for Luke O'Nien as well. Defensively, he's looking more and more better as well, because that's probably one part of his game what I think needs improving. But he looked quite solid on that left-hand side, and going forward, he was absolutely incredible. He just has no fear, the lad, whatsoever. He's just so raw. He's such a raw talent, and I really like that about the lad. And he really brought the team forward when we started to drop back a little bit, if that makes sense. So yeah, for me, man of the match with Denver Hume. All in all, in a conclusion to the game, it was a game which we could have easily won 3-4-0, but it just didn't happen for us. For me, I think McNulty needs to start. I don't know whether he's 100% fit yet, because I know when he picked up a knock the other week. But I think he needs to start, McNulty. He gives us that bit more energy and a bit more of a press up top. Of course, I want it to work well for Grigg. I just don't think it's going to, in all honesty. I just can't see it happening. We've given chance after chance after chance, and he just doesn't look awesome. Unless Grigg is the kind of player that needs a front two, which kind of is and isn't happening, because Maguire, who was alongside him today almost, he kept dropping back into the number 10 role, which I think he's assigned to anyway. But there were times where it was pretty much a 4-4-2, and he looked just as sort of useless then, as harsh as that sounds, Will Grigg. But yeah, so that's my conclusion of the game. We could have won by more. Of course, I hope Southend, you do well this season. I know you have just brought in Sol Campbell as well, who I hope he does well for you. But of course today I'm going to stay happy with the 3 points, which, if we look at the league table, that means that we are currently sat in 7th. There was a few shock results today, actually. I think Bolton beat Fleetwood by 2-1, which is a pretty massive result there. But we're in 7th. We're a point away from both Coventry and Fleetwood, and Oxford, sorry. Oxford, Fleetwood and Coventry are all on 26 points, and we're on 25, with a game in hand over all of them but Fleetwood, who are also on 15 as well. So, this table can change. If we put a run of 4 or 5 wins together, we could be right up there again, but we just need to start taking our chances that little bit more, because today we deserved it, and we controlled the game, which is the big word for me, controlling the game, and we should be in this league without sounding too arrogant. That's what we should be doing. On paper, we should be controlling games, regardless of whether it's 1-0 or 7-0. We should be controlling games and getting away with 3 points in games like this. But that is it. I'm happy with the performance. It did the job, and we are back to winning ways. So what do you think of the game? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you did enjoy this video, please hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already, to become a fully fledged member of the Sassy Army. But for now, you take care and stay jamming.